Welcome to another episode of Chatting with Stacks. I'm your host, Bill Stacks, and today I got Joe Serna. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Stacks? Good to
How
see
you been, bro?
Good, man. Staying busy, busy.
I haven't seen you in a minute, bro.
It's been about 4 or 5 months since we last talked.
Yeah. I hope everything's all right with you, man.
Yeah, I'm just out here in California now trying to learn the family business.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
Things are going good?
Mm-hmm. Things are going well. But I miss the East Coast. I still miss the East Coast, man.
Yeah, man.
How's life treating you, brother?
Everything's good, man. You know, everything's going pretty good. I got a lot of interviews. I got a lot of opportunities presenting themselves. So things are great, man. I can't complain, you know?
Yeah.
George said, thank you for your service.
Thank you, George. It was an honor.
Yeah, man. So you've been involved with crazy situations. People, some people out there don't have a clue of the things you've been involved in.
Oh,
yeah, with your service.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull up something right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, your story has so many different chapters to it that, like,
yeah, I stay pretty busy.
All right, so I got the short version, so we can just go over it real quick, and then.
Okay.
This is part. Oh, that's part one. Hold on.
Goodbye and the spam.
Let me get part one.
The Green Beret in Stockton came home to quite a surprise party attended by loved ones, community members, as well as veterans. And it's well-deserved after he was injured multiple times during multiple tours of duty. It was a welcome home in style. Stockton's American Legion rolled out the red carpet for hometown hero, Army Sergeant First Class Joe Serna. But a white striped limo is a far cry from his normal life in the military.
Just blessed that he came back home. I have no words for it. I'm happy that he's home, that he's enjoying his son and his kids and his family. He deserves it.
And he almost didn't come back, more than once.
When I was injured the third time, I was medevac to Germany.
Last year, this Green Beret was injured a fourth time while on foot patrol in the Kandahar region of Afghanistan. He's more than earned his 2 Purple Hearts.
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed from a man who's seen more in 4 tours of duty in Afghanistan than most will see in a lifetime. His modesty shines through.
I think it's for all these vets that stand here right now. That set the groundwork for guys like my teammates that are still there. They're still doing their service overseas.
Emotions ran high as a feeling of pride spread throughout today's event, all knowing not all soldiers are fortunate to return home to see another day.
Our brother, our son, our nephew, and our cousin, he's home now. He's safe. We're so proud of him. Every veteran actually deserves this.
Joe will spend time with his wife and 4 children as they all anxiously await a 5th child that is on the way.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
So you want to explain to the people, like a quick summary of what the first time you got injured?
Yeah. So I was 2005. I went to Afghanistan. I was my first rotation to Afghanistan, and that one was pretty shaky because that was my first time I got in firefights and all that. You know, my eye opening stuff, and my truck. My first injury was an IED. It's an improvised explosive device.
Yeah.
It was a roadside bomb, and it hit my truck, and it took out all my team, and threw me out the bed of the truck, and that was my first ever experience in war, and that was my first injury.
And then after you got injured, you stayed there and you wanted to continue.
Yeah, so I stayed there for that rotation. Yeah, I stayed there. I stayed there the entire rotation. But it was it was my third trip where I got injured, and a second time, and I stayed there in country to fight, and 2 months later we hit again. So that's the rotation that you're talking about. Is my second and third injury where I stayed in country. So
So, when after you get injured, like the first time, do they bring you to a hospital and then you recuperate and then you go back out? Like, how does that work?
so normally if it's not like a life threatening injury and they can take care of you at the base there in Afghanistan, they'll
Yeah.
they'll they'll take care of you and then they'll patch you up and send you back to the field and just get it on again. So yeah.
I mean, like, so if you're not injured, like severely, then they'll let you continue to fight, right?
Yeah, yeah. I had a partner over there. He was injured. He got shot twice in the neck, and different at the same 2 months apart. Uh, but he got injured. He got injured not 3 times, but he got shot in the neck, and then right after that, they patched him up. He recovered for a few days, and they sent him right back out to the field. That's scary. That's scary because it's like, man, I gotta go do this all over again, and I got 6 more months to do this. You know, to and it might. Hey, just a minute, Stacks. Let me plug the charger in for me.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, man, this dude is the meaning of a true hero, man. He's got 2 Purple Hearts, and I got nothing but respect for people that serve in the military. Hi, Liz. How you doing? How you doing, Erica? Pat, Sis, what's up? Christopher, Jesse, Yankees for life.
All right, sorry about that, Stacks.
It's all good, bro.
Yeah, I had to charge it up if we die here. So yeah,
So, all right. So your second injury,
mhm.
what happened there? Like, was that with the truck, right? Or was that the third one?
No, the second injury was in 2008. It was in June 2008, and it's kind of hard to talk about this stuff, so bear with me, man. And we had to go recover a body. One of my boys that stepped on a AP mine, blew him up, so we had to go recover his body. And in the process of doing this, my truck that we were in would get stuck in the mud and all this other stuff. So we had to find a way out of the fields to get on back onto a regular road so we can drive and pick my buddy up. But in the process of doing so, we rode along a side of a creek, man, and then, this is my second injury. This is and the truck rolled into a river, and
Is the river deep? Was the river deep?
it's like a culvert, like irrigation canal.
Yeah.
So most of the places over there, like the canals, are not built up, developed, but the place that we rolled into just happened to be deep. So
Yeah.
so the truck kind of rolled into a river, and um, everybody died. I mean, I was sole survivor on that truck. And they sent me to the hospital, and when I got to the hospital in Afghanistan, they're like, hey, you're the only one that made it, man. All your friends died.
That's serious, man. That's like, wow. I mean, people out there, like, what do you say to that? Like,
I mean, it's tough. I feel for the families and their sons. And my first accident, I lost my boys too. My truck hit the IED. I
yeah.
lost my truck too. I mean, my boy blown in half. And so this one, that's when after I took my first experience of war, it kind of made me callous. And there's like a taste and desire I don't know for war. I don't know what it is that
Kind of made you numb to it, like
made
you.
me numb to it. Yeah. So I wasn't afraid on the second one. I was hurt because they lost. We lost the brothers. and some kids, and they lost a dad and a husband. So I was hurt on that. But I think that when I decided to stay after my second accident, I think that I was driven by that. I'm like, I'm gonna stay in country and fight small. But it's something like it's like my Super Bowl, man. It's hard to explain how war affects people,
Yeah.
and the drive for me. I did all this training to be Green Beret just to sit on the bench. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm putting me in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, war is my Super Bowl.
Mike says, how did you make it, and what happened, respectfully, like with the truck, when the truck.
So no, that's a good question, Mike. And to answer that one, that's a real good question. So when the truck went into the river, or this aqueduct, everything and that truck is so heavy that you need hydraulics to open the doors. It's called an RG33 MRAP. Mine was just something. Anyway, when it rolled into the river, it killed all the power to the truck. So we weren't able to open the doors. We were upside down in the truck, and it started filling with water. And eventually, I started hearing sounds of drowning.
And you said there's gas in the water and stuff, right? And you're breathing it in.
So there was fuel cans on the side of the truck, and when the truck rolled over, it busted that fuel can, and so the fumes were getting released inside the truck. So whatever air I had in the truck, and now, mind you, the water was up to my neck, and I can't see it. 2 a.m, you can't see where the water was at. So all I know is that I tried to make myself as small as possible, and upside down. And
is the whole truck upside down, or is it on its side?
No, so it went to its side. It went to the side first, and then it started sliding down the embankment. And when it got to the bottom of the embankment, it flipped over. And so where we have the gun on top of the truck, I was underneath it, so that gave me the air pocket. That gave me the I think the only air pocket that we had in the truck. And I couldn't. I was underwater myself, and when it started sliding sideways, I started getting water over my neck and my face. I couldn't. I was underwater. I couldn't take off my seatbelt. And my partner, he was sitting right next to me. He popped my seatbelt though, and then we stood up, and it's kind of like when the whole truck went underwater, and we fought. It was bad. It was a bad situation. I'll tell you how bad it was, man. I didn't want to drown, so I pulled out my gun because I was gonna.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I didn't want to struggle, bro. I didn't want to struggle.
My father drowned, man. A lot of people don't know, but my father drowned in 2008, and really? I can imagine. Yeah.
So
he
it was one of those things where, I'm sorry.
He was on a boat on the Mississippi River, and he hit a log jam, and the boat sank, and he caught hypothermia and drowned.
Yeah, and the water don't have to be that cold. I mean, I got hypothermia too, and it was like 75 degrees outside, so your body temperature drops.
Yeah.
It's hard to function. It's hard to think. I couldn't imagine. And that's just like two things, man. There's two things I never want to do, man. I never want to burn up. I never want to drown, man. It's just two horrible ways to go. And when
I don't want to die anyway, man.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's true. Yeah,
I don't think I could avoid that though.
Yeah. Well, those are things that worried me over there. Like because I seen my buddy get burned up, and I seen my buddies drown. So. And those two things I always feared. I guess if I had to think of something like, man, this is not the way to go. I don't want to. It's.
But it weighs heavy on your heart, right? Being the sole survivor, it probably like you're like, why me and not them? I'm sure you struggle with that a lot.
Yeah, I did. I questioned that first. I can't. I have to stop beating myself up about it because I can send myself down a rabbit hole if I say if I think like that. And I thought. The first 2 years after that accident, I mean, that's probably the hardest time. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I didn't want to sleep. Because the things that I experienced when I was drowning, that to me it was like after, I was when I was upside down in the water, and I went unconscious, and I'm thinking it was the fumes that I inhaled.
Yeah.
and I think it was the fume that didn't.
That was towards the end, right? When you
That was
went
towards-
unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I literally, man, I literally the experience that I thought I was dead, and the things that I experienced, man, was so terrible, man. I was like, you know, and the only reason I woke up, I think we were underwater for 30 minutes, about 30 to 40 minutes. They couldn't find us. You know, they couldn't find the truck. No, but the trucks had disappeared. They're like, where'd the truck go? And then, you know, you got those little UAVs or predators and stuff like that. Well,
Yeah.
they reported back to my team, and they were like, hey, we got wheels up in the river, and everybody's just, you know, we went untactical, I guess. They turned the white lights on, and they were searching for us, and then so what woke me up is when they hooked up the wrecker, like a tow truck wrecker.
Yeah.
And the metal kind of clanked around, and that kind of snapped me out of it. And
oh, so when they hooked up the wrecker, you're still in the back under the water.
Underwater,
and
yeah.
they're hooking up the wrecker and they're pulling it out, and you're still back there.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And so when they finally got it, when they finally yanked it up, about halfway up the bank, the water emptied. It's a drain. It went quick, and I still couldn't understand them. Because I had like a gun port on the back of the truck, the window was a port, and I can't comprehend what they were saying because they're like my whole team is looking at me through this window, and finally somebody reached their hand through the window and pulled my rack and said, "Hey, breathe." And as soon as I took a breath of fresh air, man, my lights went on. And they're like, "Hey, open the top hatch," which is on the side now. So when I opened the hatch up, they pushed me out the way, and they grabbed my buddy and they drug his body out. And you know, I knew something was bad. So the two guys in the front also passed away, but I knew that when they pulled me out of the truck and I was laying on the ground, I remember looking up at. I remember working on my friend, and then I looked up at, and the other guys were on the truck trying to open the door from the outside, the front door, you know, the passengers. Because we were in the rear, I was in the rear of the truck, and so there's two more guys that were in the front of the truck, and I knew that was, I knew deep in my heart that all three died. So
I'm sorry for your loss, man.
you know,
It's gonna be terrible.
so
like when I was in high school, right? A couple of my friends died, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but like when my friend died, right? He got shot and killed by the cops, and it kind of made me like fuck it, I ain't scared to die. He's gone, so whatever. I'm ready to go where he's at. Did it make you like that?
It did. It made me I would say a little more reckless and careless. You know.
Yeah.
After that happened, you know, if I go on patrol and stuff like that, I wouldn't put a helmet on anymore. You know, I only took enough to kill him, and I just whatever was on my body with my vest, and I put my ammunition in my pouches, and that's it. I felt like I was a machine, you know, and I got careless with it, and unfortunately, it bit me in the ass 2 months later. Yeah,
Do you want to tell the people the story about the grenade?
Yeah. So we were out on patrol, and we were out there about 7 days. And so some of the things that we would do are, you know, we'd take a compound, a house, kick everybody out, and then we'll bring all the fighting age. Like if we found it, like a fighting age male, 20s, 30s, whatever they were, we'll bring them to that house and keep them in there while we're still in the local area, so they're not messing with us. Well, part of my job was to interview those guys.
Yeah.
And so I'll take one guys out. I'll take them one at a time. I'll take them out, talk to them. If he didn't have anything, I'll put him back in the house and like whatever. And then I took one guy out, and I thought.
But they were supposed to search them first, right?
Our Afghan counterparts. We're searching them. When they bring them to me, they'll search them. So they take the turbans off their head, and they'll search them, and then they'll tie their hands behind their back with the turbans. Because we had a lot of guys in the house, man. It was about at least 60, right? So I was going to them fast, and and so the last guy I was talking to, man, the dude was hard, man. I've never dealt with anybody that bad. He was a fighter. And,
when you're talking to him, do you have an interpreter helping you talk to them?
Yeah, I have a interpreter.
And
yeah, but I had two Turks with me on that one, and they were my translator. I think they were speaking Pashto, might have been Pashto. And so I'm sitting there, I'm debriefing him, and his arms are crossed behind his back, on his knees. And then at some point, it's a small, tiny room, and it's all mud. And So when I'm interviewing him, you know, we call it tactical interrogation, but you know what it is, right? We know what we're doing. And I was talking to him. He gets tired of me talking to him, and I hear like a metallic click. And if anybody knows what a metallic click is it's in the military, they know what it sounds like when you hear a grenade goes off, like a click from a grenade. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a grenade, and I didn't see it. And then it rolled from behind him, and I was like, damn it. And then I put my boot in him to kick on top of the grenade. But when he went on top of the grenade, his legs were crossed. His legs were crossed, and we went to the side. So I was standing on the grenade when he went off, right? And but I was standing in the V. When it blows up, it goes in a V.
Yeah.
So if I was standing a little to the left or right, and that side of me smoked. But since I was standing in the V, the cone kind of saved me because the shrapnel went to the side. I still got my ass whooped. I mean, I still got 50 holes in me from that one. And so when it went off, there's nothing famous. There's nothing sexy in Hollywood. Like, you know, when you see grenades go off, bodies flying, cars blowing.
Yeah, like people fly, they go flying.
Nah, hell no. As soon as the metal went through me and the overpressure hit me, I dropped.
Yeah.
I dropped. I couldn't. And then because of the overpressure,
How many people were in the room when the grenade went off? How many people were in that room?
2 Americans, 2 Afghani Terps, and then the bad dude. So 5.
So what was the extent of all their injuries?
They had I think I was the worst. I mean, they took a lot of shrapnel to their stomach and arms, but as far as physically, they could still walk.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk, so they can still move around. I mean, they got their bells wrong because, you know, it wasn't. I didn't feel the frags or the fragmentation in my body. I didn't feel any pain from that. I felt pain from the overpressure of the grenade.
Doesn't it mess up your head too? Pop your ears?
Yeah, my whole jaw. It's like I got hit with a heavyweight fight or something like that. I feel like if I ever got punched by Tyson, it'd probably feel like that. You know, because my whole everything rattled. My brain, my jaw, my bones, everything rattled.
Wow.
It rung my bell. And so, but now you got to think about this. We're in this dirt room, and it's cloudy, and you can't see anything in the room because grenades just went off, mud's in the air, dust in the air, and there's a gun on the ground somewhere fell out of my hands between me and him. And he's only 3 feet away.
Is it the rifle or the pistol?
It's a rifle. There's a rifle. And there's a gun here. There's a gun here. I know there's a gun here. But I can't see it. And I'm like, and so by that time, my Terps had walked 20 feet and opened the door up. So but when they opened the door up, the sun came in and they couldn't penetrate it, so it was like an orange blob kind of thing. It was all
like all that dust and shit. Yeah.
It was like the color of brown out. It was orange, and I was like, "Oh, there's the door." So I tried to get up, and as soon as I took one step, I collapsed because my left leg, for some reason, where it hit the nerve, my leg didn't work. Right? It was just so I got up and I got up. Somehow I popped myself up. Then I took one step with my left leg, and I was out, bro. I was on the ground, and I fell on top of the gun. So I'm like, okay. And then by this time the dust starts settling, and I can see the silhouette of he's leaning against the wall. Right?
He's still standing in there, right? The guy that
he's kind of leaning to the side. He was hurt too. So he kind of leaned to the side. I mean, he was on his way out, and I picked up the gun and finished it. Right? And then when I did that, I said, I need help, and I went outside and I collapsed, and then. My team was there, and by that time, everything was they were just seeking medical attention.
Yeah.
And so I kept thinking about, you ever seen those Civil War books or the history books when you see the dead Americans with everything swollen?
Yeah.
This is going through my head, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna die right here. I can feel myself dying. So I said, I'm not gonna die here. I think I told you the story before. I said, I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die right here. I'm gonna die in the shade. And then, so I tell my team, pick me up, move me. So I moved me to the shade. And then I felt myself going out again. I look up and I see crows and stuff. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna die right here. Pick me up and move me to this.
Yeah, you're like, move me over there.
As long as I kept moving, I was gonna live. So I think it was just a weird fight. And I mean, I did this about 4 or 5 times, and my team didn't know what was going on. They're like, man, we can't move anymore. We got to work on these other guys. And so finally, we stole a truck, right? And I don't know how they got the truck, hot wired or something. They threw me on the back of the truck. It's like a pickup truck, civilian pickup truck. And I remember the sun was on my face.
Was it white? Was it a white pickup truck?
It was a white pickup truck. It was a white Hilux. And, you know, they put me on my back. I'm looking at the sun. And then I'm like, man, I'm just going to mess around with these guys, right? My teammates. I'm like I'm like, I close my eyes and I like, I start freaking out. And I was just messing with them at that time. I'm like, damn, if I'm on my way out, let's have fun with this.
Yeah.
So they put all of us on there, and my 2 translators and another American and myself on the back of a helicopter, a medevac flight, and they flew us to a British hospital. And once I got in there, man, that was another story too, man, because they thought it was Taliban.
Yeah, you want to tell that one too?
Yeah.
Tell them, man.
So they thought it was because we didn't have the unit I was operating with, the Green Berets. We didn't have name tag. Like we kept sterile. We were sterile. And
you do that so that they don't know who you are, right? When you're out in the field, so they can't like.
So when we work with the Afghanis, the commandos, their special forces, we dress like them, right? In regular army fatigues, military fatigues. So we can't tell the difference. You can tell the Americans because Americans are much bigger, but I'm not a tall guy, and I had a full beard, and I didn't have nothing on I didn't have any name tags. I didn't have anything on me says that I'm an American, and I couldn't talk. By this time, for some reason, my voice went out. So by the time we got to the hospital, they were racing my translator, my Turk, who is an Afghani, and then they're racing me to the ER, for the surgery. August 1998. Thank you, U.S. Army Colonel Medic. Thank you. Yeah. So they're racing us, and they're like, "Hey, let's take the American at first." So my partner was with me, and he's like, "Hey, you're taking the wrong guy." And they're like, "No." He's like, "The American is next to him." So we're racing to survive, basically. And, so they're taking one guy in first, and my partner's like, "No, don't take him. Take the American." And then we went back and forth. Finally, my partner was like, "Cut off your uniform." And then they cut my uniform off. I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "What Afghani has a Raider tattoo?" Right?
Yeah, you got a Raider tattoo on your arm, right?
Yeah, they shot me in. But when I woke up, and somehow they got mixed me up again. Because when I woke up with the Taliban. They put me in the recovery room.
Why would they have you recovering next to the people you're fighting against? Why would they?
And that was one of my arguments too. I said, "Why do you have me here two hours? however long I was out in surgery, why would you put me next to this guy?" Because what they had, I had Afghanis. Because it's a British hospital, so we're in one recovery ward. So you have the Afghans on one side, then you have the other coalition forces, then you have the British on their side. So it's just one recovery room. But so my Turk should have been closer to the Taliban than me, right? Because I said that's how it works, right? When I woke up, he was on the other side of me, right? And I was like, "Come on, man, you're to my right, the Taliban's to my left." And then there was one fighter, man. He was saying something, he was talking crap, right? And I was telling my Turk, "What's he saying?" He's like, "Don't worry about it, Joe. Don't worry about it."
He didn't want to get you worked up. That's why he didn't want to tell you.
I said, "Bro, you're still on payroll." I said, "We still pay you. Do you have what they say?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is about Americans." And now you got to think about it. When I woke up out of surgery, I had about 30 staples around my stomach, all from my chest down to my waist. My whole stomach was sliced open, and I had about 50 holes in it. I had all these patches, and I can barely move. But I knew I had a little morphine pump, so I pumped myself up real quick, take the pain away, and I told my Turk, "Man, go give me a wheelchair." So I'm like, "All right," he got me a wheelchair. Go give me a cane, and he got me a cane. He's like, "Now what?" I was like, "Help me out of the bed." And so he helps me out of the bed. Like, "Where we going?" I'm like, "Hey, go down there. We're gonna fight, right?" I was gonna fight him, man. I don't know what I was thinking. And so he starts pushing me that way. I start picking up speed. And somehow I do a 180. Somebody snaps behind my wheelchair, turns it around, and I look up, and I was like, "Man, you're not my Turk." And I look behind him, kind of behind him, and I said, "Oh, my Turk's laying on the ground." He fell over his little colostomy bag.
Yeah, because Because he was still hurt too, right?
Yeah, he was.
He's in there recovering with you.
Yeah, he was recovering. We were both in, and he had a IV tube, like I don't know, say he tripped on something, but it was the doctor that intercepted us, right? And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I explained. I'm like, "Man, I don't know how long I've been in surgery, but you put me out here. I'm American. You put me next to these guys." And then they're like, "Well, you're in the recovery room, Joe." And I'm like, "Nope." I said, I'm not, you know." And then they took me back to my bed, and I'm talking to one doctor, and then I catch it on the corner of my eye, another doctor pumping meds in my IV, and I start cutting off the little tube.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the tube, I'm like, man, they're gonna try to knock me out. So you know, I don't know what I was thinking. I tried to pinch the tube, trying to stop it coming into my system. I went out, bro. I went out, and I don't know how long, but when I woke up, they had put those office partitions around me. You know, like little partitions and cubicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Try to keep you contained in there.
and then they saved me so they don't get me confused. But yeah, that was But after that was my last trip to Afghanistan. I mean, that pretty much ended my career right there. With
So how hard did you find it to adjust back into civilian life? And how long were you there for? Like from start to finish? How long were you there for? And how do you find it to adjust to civilian life?
you know, I didn't find it too hard. Well, maybe, yeah. You know, I didn't. I kind of had it rough because I was still. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like, you know, when I was going through the recovery process, I was physically healing up, but mentally I wasn't. I was checked out. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So not mentally was tough, and so it took me about. Man, I still go through it, man. I still go through
I mean,
it.
it's a
But
constant work, you know? It's constantly working.
yeah, but you know, nowadays it's not as hard to talk about it. You know, when it first happened, it was super tough to just open up. And now, years later, man, I'm okay with it. You know, some of the stuff still gets me when you get into details. You know, still kind of you know, it's still kind of tough to talk about. Especially when I talk about the losses of my friends, and that's probably the hard part.
Now, do you go? No, go ahead.
But adjusting to the civilian life, the transition wasn't too bad. And as far as separate from the military, because I did 19 years, and I did 19 years, and 14 of that was in special forces. So, but when I finally retired, hung it up, I mean, I was ready to walk away. You know,
You were like,
if
you had enough, right? You had enough.
Well, if my injuries didn't let me go back and fight again, why would I want to still stay in a uniform? That's the kind of make you depressed, because I was like, man, you know, for a Green Beret, you going to Afghanistan or Iraq or any type of combat zone, that's our Super Bowl. That's what we train for. And and so when I see my friends doing it, and I can't do it anymore because of my injuries, I was like, man, it was depressing. So I was ready to walk away.
I think you could be a good inspiration for young soldiers that come back, you know, that are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. Because you're an inspiration to me, man. You know.
Thanks.
For real.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. And, you know what's it's crazy? We have there's a lot of support, man. And I can't imagine I come back from Vietnam with no support and you know how they were treated. But no, we got a lot of support, a lot of love, man, coming back. So I mean, it was.
Do you want to explain the next story when you came back and the thing that made the whole situation go viral?
Oh, with the judge?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So okay, so I came in, you know, one of those things we talked about, like, hey, you come back, how was the transition? But you know, I said I couldn't I was drinking a lot. You know, physically I was getting better. Mentally I was just going down the rabbit hole. And I found myself in and out of jail. And eventually I found my way into Veterans Treatment Court. It's like a drug treatment court, sobriety treatment court. But this one's this one is specifically designed for veterans. So they accepted me into the program, and we have one judge, Judge Oliveira, and I see him twice a month just to process. And one time, you know, I came up hot on a urinalysis for alcohol, and he's like, "Hey, what are we gonna do?" You know, he said, "Joe, we're gonna give you a night in jail." I said, "Fine." You know, I said, "Can I check in tomorrow?" He says, "Yeah." And so The next day comes around, and I go in and report to the county, and the judge is standing there. And I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, come with me. I'm like, you told me to check in. He's like, no. And I looked at the deputy, and he's like, he's the judge. Go with him. So I walk into the county. I go through the metal detector. I leave him at county, and we jump in his car, and he would jump in his truck, his SUV, and we jump on 95. And 95 goes from north to south. So we jump on 95. We start hitting south to South Carolina, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, where are we going? I thought maybe my punishment is to speak to kids or something, right?
Yeah.
So we spent about 45 minutes flying down 95, and we pull up to another county jail. And I walk in, he's like, wait right here, Joe. I said, all right. He comes back, he's like, man, grab your medicine. I know you have it, right? So I start putting my medicine in my pockets. And he's like, come with me. So we go in and I look at the assistant deputy warden or something like that. I don't know who it is. It's the second guy in charge of the jail. And I'm sitting in his office, and I'm like, what am I doing here? And I'm looking at the judge, and I'm looking at the guy sitting across from me. And he's like, all right, man, go ahead and check in now. I'm like, okay, I'm out of there, right? So I go in there, I change out, and I get to my cell, and I'm like, man, here we go. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm in a different county. So I get there, and I'm sitting there for about 10 minutes, and I hear the door rattle, and the door opens up. They open the cell door up, and two COs come in, corrections officer, and behind them is the judge carrying two plates of like lasagna. I forgot what we were eating, and I'm like, what the heck is going on here, right?
Yeah.
And there's another CO behind them carrying
A mattress, right? The
Yeah,
bedroll. Yeah.
bedroll. That's what I'm looking. I'm sorry, the bedroll. And he's like, and then he comes in, and they close the door, and he's just like, I'm like, hey, there's only one bed in here. He's like, no, I got the grill, man. I got the grill. I'm like, I said, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm gonna stay the night with you. I'm like, oh man. I said, for real? They're like, yeah. So we hung out for about a good 24 hours.
So you and the judge are sitting in a cell, just chilling all night, talking, and
just chill all night talking. And
wow.
the reason behind that was, you remember, the second accident that was in truck and confined spaces, tight spaces. So he kind of did, and that's where if you the CBS special that was televised after that. That was kind of the whole thing behind it. Was like, hey man, I don't want to leave a guy behind, after what he went through. So like like stuck in a truck, stuck in a cell, steel walls. So he stayed the night with me, man.
That's pretty insane, man. I'm gonna see if I can find because they have some of the footage with the judge at the prison cell.
Yeah, I think they show him walking into the cell.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Yeah. So yeah, he
I got it right here, man.
There's studs on there.
My friend used to pay $163.
You're a bit of a soft touch for an heartwarming story, are you? I'll be honest with you, me too. But before we get down to business, we got to take care of clicking subscribe. You got to do that and then click the little bell so you know when we have more of these lovely stories here just for you. All right, let's get on with it then, shall we?
When Green Beret is sentenced to night in jail, security camera catches Judge going into cell. A North Carolina judge sentenced a Green Beret veteran to spend a night in jail. But when he remembered his own story and all he had gone through, he couldn't just let him spend the night alone. Judge Lou Oliveira, a Gulf War veteran, is a district court judge over the Veterans Treatment Court in Cumberland County, North Carolina. He had to sentence Green Beret Joe Serna to one night in jail for a probation violation. Supporters of Judge Lou Oliveira posted in Facebook. Visiting with middle school class after returning from the Gulf War in 1991. The class wrote me several times while I was deployed and asked that I visit upon my return. Serna, a recipient of 3 Purple Hearts, is retired from the military and is having a hard time adjusting back to life after experiencing the battle of war in Afghanistan. Through his struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder, he turned to alcohol to help him deal with the issues he was having mentally. This path of destruction soon led him to the Veterans Treatment Court, which helps struggling veterans get back on track. This is where Serna met Oliveira. When Joe first came to my court, he was so tight, Oliveira says. His shoulders were so tense. Over time, you could see his shoulders relax. When Serna lied in court about a urine test, Oliveira knew he had to hold him accountable for his actions. He sentenced him to spend the night in jail. But as Serna entered the jail cell, the painful memories of losing companions began to flood his mind, and he felt this would be the longest night of his life. Anxiety gripped him and flashbacks began to play in his mind as the door closed behind him. His scariest moment was when he was riding with 3 other soldiers along a creek, when the road gave way and the vehicle plunged into the water. The truck started filling with water and all hope was lost. Serna was trapped and unable to move. The water rose all the way up to his chin where it finally stopped. He was the only one saved that day. I was the sole survivor, he recalled, with tears in his eyes. Without telling Serna what he planned to do, Oliveira drove him to the jail and asked the jail administrator if he could spend the night with Serna. The administrator had never heard of such a thing. Joe was a good soldier and he's a good man, Oliveira said. I wanted him to know that I had his back. I didn't want him to do this alone. As Serna's mind began to go to the dark place of being trapped in the vehicle and losing his buddies, the jail cell door opened and he saw the judge's smiling face. When he came in, I knew everything was going to be okay, recalled Serna. I was at peace, he continued. Oliveira brought him back to North Carolina when he felt he was trapped back in the truck again. They spent the night talking about their families, lives, and service. The judge knew Serna needed to face the consequences for his actions, but he also knew he didn't want him to go it alone. He is a judge, but that night he was my battle buddy, Serna said. He knew what I was going through. As a warrior, he connected. This judge is a hero. His love and compassion for this veteran should be a reminder to us all to remember our soldiers and shower them with grace and love.
Oh, weren't that beautiful? I love it. Don't forget to click subscribe, share it with...
It's a pretty incredible story, man. You have an incredible story, bro.
Yeah.
You're a really good person, man. You've been a good friend to me this whole time, you know.
I really appreciate it. I try to surround myself with good people too. And it's probably that's probably why I came to California to back my mom and dad, help them out on the business like that. But thank you, I appreciate that, brother. Yeah.
Get a new start out there, right?
Yeah, and try to start, my second career.
Yeah, man. Are you doing the podcast thing? What's going on with that?
No, I haven't even started yet. It's since I transitioned back to California, and I've been trying to learn the family business, and that's just been taking most of my time. So yeah.
I'm sure people would watch you, man. All these people, a lot of people are saying thank you for your service, and a lot of them, all of them are saying, damn, man. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate the support.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Today I'll just give a shout out to my pops, Big Joe Serna.
Yeah, man.
So, give him a shout out today, and I appreciate you having me on, man. And
yeah, and I want to give a shout out to Death, man, from 23-1. He's the one that linked us together.
Yeah, 23-1 Death. Good old Death.
You still talking to him?
I haven't talked to him in about 4 or 5 months. It's been a while, but I got
give him a call, bro.
Huh?
Give him a call, bro.
I do. I gotta give him a ring, man. So just touch base and say hi. It's been about 6 months.
Definitely, man. I'm gonna have you on again in the future, and we could get more intricate into things, and
Yeah, I kind of just glazed over it because I don't know what It's kind of there's more details than I was giving.
Now, I want to ask you before we go, man, because a lot of people are talking about this stolen valor shit, and so if somebody was in the military and they don't feel like proving it to somebody else,
Mhm.
I mean, what do you think? What's your definition of stolen valor?
I think if I don't get caught up behind that the stolen valor stuff. There's enough people that do that pulls up. And then I'm kind of more ashamed for people that do it. I don't. They might be wearing awards that they didn't earn. And a lot of people in the military, they might still wear awards that they didn't earn either. So it's not like civilians are stealing. Everybody does it. And it sucks that they do it because it discredits the people who've done it.
Yeah.
And so but I don't really get caught up into it. I just
So if someone came to you and said you weren't in the military, prove it to me, would you be like, I don't need to prove shit to you?
Some people have done that. Green Berets have done that to me.
Yeah.
And because I have some ink, on my leg, and it's the SF crest, and has our model on there, and they look at it and like, what did you serve? Like the kind of things like that, and they'll make phone calls right in front of me.
And you're like,
yeah,
you're like the Green Beret poster boy, man.
Yeah, I know.
For real.
And it's not, and it doesn't bother me. I think I find it funny that people that try to check people like that, when you're really legit, I find it funny that when they check me, because when I tell them a story, their story don't even compare. None of the stories compare. Like I have my experience, you have your experience, but it's one of those things. It doesn't really bother
Hey,
me.
man. Yeah, people. Actually, it was stated that the person has no DD 214.
That's what they give us. That's our record, kind of like a summary. When we get out of the military, if you have a DD 214, it shows you all your schools, all your stations where you've been stationed. It shows your military schools, your civilian education, shows everything. Not education, all military. Or DD 214.
Well, I don't know if you know the situation that's going on with Anthony Ramundi. People are saying, "Oh, he wasn't in the military." He's like, "I don't got to prove shit to nobody."
Yeah,
That's the way he feels.
You don't have to. You don't have, you got what's that one? There's like not a nonprofit. It's just like an organization.
Guardians of the Green Beret. The Guardians of the Green Beret. Now, to clarify things, they're not a legit organization. They're a bunch of people that put up an email, put up a website, and they claim to be a legit organization. I'm not saying that they don't have legit Green Beret members in there, but they are not registered as a legit organization. They're not a business. So
yeah, it sucks, huh?
I mean,
I don't know if what's the purpose. I don't know the purpose. I've heard of that. I've heard of the Guard of the Green Beret. I've seen some stuff on it, but I really don't follow them. And I
mean, they won't show their face.
Yeah, they won't, and they'll just what, and they can fact check all they want. And I don't. To me, it's like they're wasting my time.
Yeah.
If you're gonna take me wasting your time, but I guess they have nothing else to do.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you. And he did actually serve. So now, one more question. If someone actually did serve and they're embellishing stories of things they did while they did serve, is that stolen valor?
No, they just embellish the stories. No, if they did it, they did it. No, they're just storytelling. That's it. I mean, if they went to combat and seen some action or whatever, and they have a cool story and they know how to talk about it, of course you're gonna embellish it. Who wants to read a boring history book? The details and the guts and the gore. Hey, next time we do this, I got a good firefight to tell you next time.
Yeah, definitely, man.
I think I told you about that. I told Death about that one. About the
I
goats.
think that the goat story. Yeah, definitely. I'll have that one next time. The U.S. Army medic wants me to drop the link.
Who?
You want to say hi to someone real quick? Have him jump on here?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's up to you.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, I'm dropping the link for the medic, man. Click the link in the he'll pop in here.
Is he?
He's here. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, what's
Hey,
going on,
Bill.
buddy?
Hey, Joseph.
Hey, Mark. How's it
Much
going,
respect to you, Joe.
Likewise, brother. Thank you for your service.
Much respect, my man.
Thank you. Thank you. What you served in the Gulf War in the 90s?
Yes, I did.
Thank you for your service, buddy.
Thank you, sir. The remark about Rayamundi. He was asked to show his DD-214 on air, and he claimed he doesn't have one. Then he was asked to show any picture in uniform. He claimed he doesn't have one. So do I think he's bullshitting? More so yes than no. I didn't have to prove anything. I went on FBS's channel, showed my DD-214 and showed my official Army picture.
Mm-hmm.
You, sir, Mr. Serna, you know that every soldier in every unit, whether it be Marines, Air Force, Army, Navy, you get an official military photo, which is used to identify you in case of being killed in action, along with your ID tags.
That's what dog tags for.
Right. But I just wanted to mention the fact that he told everybody he does not have a DD-214. Everybody has a DD-214.
It's his story, man. You know.
I hear you, Bill. Bill,
I
but
don't know.
much respect to having this real hero come on.
I appreciate it. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Man, I bless you, and if I could hug you, I would, man.
Thank you, man. Hey,
thank you, Stacks. Awesome, awesome interview. Fantastic.
No problem. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
So, yeah, man, definitely. We're going to have the goat story next time, man. We're going to have to set up something for that. I'll have a bunch of goats in the background.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if I can talk about some things. Maybe I don't know if we get blocked for saying some things. I don't know. I know when I was sharing the ghost story last time. I didn't want people getting involved. It was an accident. So
yeah, I mean, people get mad about with animals and stuff, but I mean, they're Afghan goats, man.
I gotta share that one next time, bro.
It's all good, bro. Thank you for joining me, bro. And we're gonna definitely have you on again. And thank you for all the people that watch this show. I appreciate every single one of you. And make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. Till next time, man.